Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Unit 4, the design process. And we are in Lesson 12. This is the digital design process of building our apps. Having collaborated and developed a paper prototype for your apps, you're now going to divide and conquer and begin to create your app in the App Lab process. Using the drag and drop down design mode of App Lab, you're going to individually work through a progression of skill building levels to learn to build digital versions of your paper prototype. From there, each group member builds at least one page in App Lab, and then you'll combine it in the next lesson. So today our objectives are to assign roles and responsibilities to each team member when collaborating to create a digital artifact. Select the appropriate input element for a given type of information and create a digital prototype of an application screen. All right, so what that means is we are now in the process of taking what we learned or what we did in the past lesson, lesson 11, and taking our paper prototype and moving it into the digital process or the digital portion of building an app. And this is the fun part of App Lab. I mean, this is the fun part of building your app is getting into App Lab and actually using the digital portion of our process to create an app. And working together to create an app makes it fun because each one of us is going to do our own page. Some of you may end up doing 2 or 3 pages if your app is huge. If you are working on your own, you're going to be building your pages by yourself. So sometimes that's a little easier because you don't have conflicts, but it's more fun to do it in groups because you do get to work on your own screen and then combine the screens together to see what you came up as a group. Okay, our resources today, we do have a couple activity guides and a one resource guide. Those are going to come up in Bubble 10. Once we complete the building process of how to use the different buttons in our App Lab and our user interface buttons, we will then move into the activity guides and I will go through those with you. But this portion of it, you're going to be on your own for a little while. In other words, bubbles 2 through 10, you're going to be working on your own through the App Lab portion. The first bubble is a video put on by Kaylee, and you're going to watch. That's about 6 or 7 minutes long, and it's a great video on what you're going to be doing with your app and how to put it in the digital mode. So go ahead and start off with that. You can go ahead and watch your video, and I will see you when you get done. Okay, welcome back. Video is good. It's a very informative video. Kaylee does a good job, and she's a very knowledgeable person in the digital technology world. So I hope you all got a lot out of it. Now we're going to jump to bubble number 3, and I want you to go ahead. This is where you're going to start working on your own. Okay, I've kind of played around with mine a little bit. So now what I want you to do is go ahead and start on bubble number 3. Make sure that you follow all of these instructions. If you follow the instructions and to do this portion, you will be fine. Everything is pretty easy to follow. Just make sure that you always read the instructions first. Don't try and just jump into it thinking you know what you're going to do. Read the instructions first and then do what it asks you to do. It takes you through the steps for going and finding out what the different buttons do and how you can put them in your app. So go ahead and do that, and I will see you when you get to bubble number 10. Okay, let's go ahead and read a little bit about bubble number 10 here, first of all. Bubble number 10, mocking up your app. Now that you have some practice laying out elements in App Lab, you can start working on mocking your own app with your group, or if you are happen to be working by yourself, so you can do it on your own too. Divvy up the screens so that everyone is working on a different screen. Because you'll be dividing the work up, you'll want to do some planning ahead of time to decide on a common look and feel for your pages. For example, you'll want to agree on something such as, where do you navigate buttons go? Your navigation buttons. Where are they? Are they at the bottom of your page, the top of your page, or your screen? Where do you want to place them? Should they be in the same spot for each screen? What colors do you want to use for your backgrounds, text, and buttons? If you are creating a good app, an app that isn't something that you can tell was put together by a bunch of different people and just thrown together, you kind of want to get some pattern to it. So that people want to stay with your app and go through the different pages knowing that it was put together as a team and it looks good as a team structure. So also, what's the general style and layout? Again, put together as a team. Get some ideas of what you're looking for the same color, the same type of buttons, the same locations of the buttons, and so on. And that's all part of working together and creating a common goal for your app. Okay, so now we're going to jump to the activity guides. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to the activity guides. Okay, the first activity guide is screen ownership. Now that's fairly simple. If you're in a group of 3 or 4, let me break that down just a little bit. It looks a little on the big side. Okay, so here it is. Here's the activity guide. It's screen ownership. What that does is it goes ahead and sets up a screen for each of your team members. In other words, if I am going to do the home page, my screen name right here would be home page. I would put the home page on there and my name. I'm team member Mr. Gatzos or Mike Gatzos, however you want to look at it. Okay, so screen name, I might type in homepage and then my name, teacher's name, or not teacher's name, I'm sorry. It would be student's name, student's name. Even though the teacher feels like he's working on it all the time, it's the student's name. Okay, so there you go. So for each one, then you would have maybe another page might be, for instance, if I am doing, and here's a good example, and I will use this all the time because I'm a soccer coach. Soccer. Okay, so my homepage might be an introduction to soccer. So I might put in there soccer introduction. My student's name would be whoever was running the homepage. And my second page might be uniforms. Okay, uniforms. Third page might be camps. And it gives you an idea. This is what your screen names are going to be. Now, when we get to the actual screen name itself, we're going to make it a little different. And I will show you that in just a second. So give each screen a name that will be used in the app. Screen names can contain only letters and numbers, or can contain only letters and numbers, no spaces, punctuation, or other special characters. So if I want to go here, then I probably should do it correctly. And that's the way we do it, home page. Okay, so that's what you want to do for your screen ownership. So go ahead and separate your team members, decide which screens you would like to work on. And if some of you are going to work on more than one, go ahead and make sure that you all agree on who's working on what pages. If you happen to have 5 pages and only 3 students working on it. So go ahead and do that. I'll give you a couple minutes to finish that up. Okay, now we're going to jump into the second portion of the activity guides. This is the activity guide, the screen design. You're going to choose a screen name. Each screen has to have a name. For instance, homepage would be the first one that you'd look at. And I'm going to show you this. I'm going to jump over to this second resource guide so that you kind of get an idea of how the names work and how the namespaces are set up. Okay, so here's an example of a model screen design. Okay, the screen ID for here is home. Now, when they name that page, I mean, that's the home page. So for mine, it would be soccer homepage. Okay, so now when I go down and everything that I put on that screen is going to have a namespace. Okay, we call it namespace. And it is mainly for keeping the titles or whatever you have so that they don't collide with another screen. In other words, the next lesson, we are going to be combining our screens together. So if I'm working with Susie over here, I've done screen 1, she's done screen 2, I might do the home page, she might be doing the uniform page of the soccer app that we're putting together. Now, if we happen to have the same title in here, when we go to combine our screens, they'll hit each other. They will not combine. So anytime that you have the same title or the same input page or the same input title name, our screens will not combine. So we have an issue there. So that's why we always start off with this type of naming for our different items. This is the home page. So now every time we put something in here, home underscore title. There's my title page, or my title for my page. Home underscore logo, and then I would put my logo in. And then home underscore description, and so on. Everything that we would name it with an underscore. Okay, and that's the easiest way to keep things from colliding. For instance, now if we were to look at combining it with my uniform page, okay, then my uniform page would be screen ID uniform. Um, my title would be uniform underscore title, and so on. That way, when we combine the pages again, they will not connect and or they will not collide and not combine. So think about that when you start naming the different pieces to your app. All right. So setting the namespace. A namespace is a unique string of text that you will add to all of your elements or element IDs. This is a way to make sure that the elements you create don't conflict with those created by your teammates. And that's what I said. They don't combine or collide when you try and put them together. As long as everyone on your team uses a different namespace, when it comes to combining all the screens into an app, you won't have to worry about conflicting IDs. And that's why we do it that way. All right. So continue down here. Now you're going to create your screen. Here is your, not your paper prototype, but this is how you're going to put your elements on your screen. Um, it's like the paper part of your digital portion, but now you're doing it on your own. You're creating what your screen is going to look like on this piece of paper with your element IDs, and then you will add them to the screen itself. And that comes in the next lesson. All right. So go ahead and work on your screens and create your screen for what you want. If you happen to be doing the home page, your element ID, your home underscore title or whatever you have, and continue working on that. And again, the resource guide is the next activity guide. So go ahead and use the resource guide to kind of help you create a page. This is what a resource guide does. It kind of gives you an idea of what your screen should look like using the different namespaces for each of your pieces of your app. All right, so go ahead and create that, and I'll get back to you in just a second, and we will talk about the final lesson. Okay, so now that you've created your screen on a piece of paper, and that was in that last activity guide that we had, now you're going to move it over to the digital portion. This is the fun part of the whole thing. This is where you get to design it digitally in App Lab. So this is going to be your first screen. So now what you're going to do is take everything that you did on your piece of paper and move it over to the App Lab portion and create it on a screen. Use all of the buttons that are available over here on the right and start working with different things that you want to create on your screen. And then once we come back in lesson 13, I will show you how we're going to combine those screens and form one app with all of your partner screens. Or I will show you how to do it. If you're doing it on your own and you've created 3 or 4 screens, I will show you how we combine those to make one app out of that. So I hope you spend some good hard time on this. Take your time with it. If you have to, go back and look at the previous lessons to get an idea of maybe what to do, how to make things a little bit look sharp. You want it to look sharp. You want people to come and look at your app. When you build something like that, an app is just really an extension of a web page. If you think about it like that, you want people to come and look at your app. You want people, if it's a business, you want them to come to your app first. And the biggest thing about people wanting to look at your app is how you present it, how it looks in the beginning, your home page. All right. So good luck with that. Have fun with it. And like I said, make it look sharp, make it look good. Impress your teacher. We call it the wow factor. So have fun with it. And I will talk to you in the next lesson. Thank you.